Yo, yo, it's another week, another game night. The Bears are back and they're out of sight. Bad calls, bad luck, it's a weekly sight. Tune in to another bad call, let's make it right. Yo, yo, it's another bad call, it shows the name. Breaking down the plays, the blame and the shame. From Soldier Field to the NFL's domain. We're here to talk it out again and again. Another bad call, it shows the name. Breaking down the plays, the blame and the shame. From Soldier Field to the NFL's domain. We're here to talk it out again and again. Again and again. Again and again. Yo, yo. Again and again.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. Welcome to another Bad Call, the podcast that proves the refs aren't the only ones who get it wrong. And you have no idea how right that statement is. I could show you my DraftKings lineups and prove that point very, very quickly. It is Monday, November 25th on a Thanksgiving week. We got a fun one between the Chargers and the Ravens going on right now. But before we get too much into that, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Just
I'd be better.
managing my-
You change it into the Illini game, or that? I mean, that game was a blowout too, from what I saw.
Yeah, I was trying to get it in multi-view, the two games, and it just won't let me. And so
Yeah.
I'll go back to the football game. I was just checking in. I already lost my Illini bet because they didn't cover the total for the first half. So
Yeah, that's not ideal.
it was a small one.
Had we waited about another 10 minutes, we might have completely missed Monday Night Football this week. This game is moving.
Yeah. Well,
So you got
ground
two
and
running
pound.
teams. That's
Yeah.
that's gonna happen. Hey, listen, before we get into our main event, which is gonna be Bears Vikings, first of all, if you're joining us, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, leave a comment down below. It really helps the channel out, and it doesn't cost you anything. So really appreciate you. So let's go ahead and move into that main event, which is the Bears Vikings. Minnesota comes into Soldier Field, and yet again, the Bears find a way to lose. This time 30-27 in overtime. And again, they get our hopes up only to let us down. It's a little.
I'll give them one thing. They've beaten my will to care a whole lot out of me this season. I mean, at this point, I want to see Caleb develop and the Bears fire their coach. But it's about where
Yeah.
we're at.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it feels like that's where we've been at for a couple of years now. Obviously we'll talk more about that. I mean, you're tuning into this show. If you've tuned in before, the constant horse that I beat, or the drum that I beat, is for Cole Kmet to get more targets. That was kind of pre-firing of Waldron, and Justin's is Fire Fluce, which I think has been going on since the day the presser came out that they hired Fluce. So I mean, it's it's been a couple years now. So we'll obviously talk about that.
I didn't care for it when it happened. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. We've lost all doubt.
Yeah, definitely covered all of that, which we've got some stats to back some of that up here coming up soon. Let's start with special teams, though. Two major mistakes in this one. The first one, after last week of getting your field goal blocked when you could have beaten Green Bay for the first time in like 5 years or 10 years, whatever it is at this point in time, I don't know. You get that one blocked. Your very first field goal attempt in this game, you get blocked, and basically from the same spot. Again, I just don't know how you let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, why wasn't it addressed in practice this week? That should have been something they focused on shoring up. Green Bay came out and told you that they saw it on tape. So it's a tendency. So why can't we figure that out? It should be like pretty elementary, I think, to change something up there to uh, make sure we block that hole or whatever. And Minnesota said that I can't remember who the quote was from. I did see one of the Minnesota players quote that they 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 had figured that it would be shored up, and they felt lucky that it wasn't. So they attacked the same hole, and any smart team is going to attack the same hole until you
Right.
prove otherwise.
Right. So we touched a base on a little bit last week that Chicago was submitting the video because they felt their long snapper Scott Daly didn't get a chance to get his head up or what. Unsurprising that the NFL came back in and like backed their refs because that's what they're going to do every time, right? In that blocked field goal for this one, I noticed Daly keeps his head down a really long time, and I don't know if that's him saying, "Hey, let's see if I can get one of these calls," or if that was, he's just needs to get better about snapping his head up quicker. But either way, that spot has to be fixed. The other special teams mistake that was massive, DeAndre Carter not backing away from a punt that he was waving off. He waved everybody else off, stood there. The ball careens into his leg. Vikings get the ball at the 15-yard line and then score a touchdown very quickly. It's a massive, massive swing in the game. I don't care if it happens fourth quarter with under 2 minutes left, third quarter, whatever. That's a massive swing in the game that just you can't do. If you're waving everybody off, you are included in everybody, and you better back your ass up. Inexcusable.
Yeah, it go. Who's our special teams coach? At
I
this
don't know
point,
off the top of my head.
like I don't know. We're regurgitating through coaches at this point. I can't remember, but you would think that the simple things, the details like this, are things that we could coach and get people out of these kinds of habits. But uh, I I think that one or two things the players have to be held accountable for what they do or don't do. But when you start seeing patterns of things, uh, then it does come back to the head of it, right? The
Yep,
coaches.
absolutely. Richard Hightower, by the way, name of the
There you go.
special teams
There
coach.
you go.
Yeah, and it does. There are some things that 100% are on players. There are some other things that are on coaches. I will say this. This was uncharacteristic of Carter, so I'm not gonna, lambaste Hightower for this one. But when you add that
He
into
dropped another kick too. He didn't lose it, but he did drop
yeah,
another kick.
when you add this up with the field goal blocking, the back to back, then you're kind of like, it puts a target on your back. Speaking of targets, pre-snap penalties with this Bears team, like, so I was curious, right? Because we constantly see false start, illegal formation or motion has been a big one this time. So I went and did a little digging. Now I'll let you take this all with a grain of salt because this was done very, very quickly. But total pre-snap on offense. So delay a game, false start, illegal formation, motion shift, offensive 2-minute men on field, which weird one to have, and offensive offsides. If those are the ones that I keyed in for an offensive pre-snap penalty. Cleveland is the only team that has more pre-snap penalties this year with 34. The Bears are at 31. Okay. To put that into context, there's only like 2 other teams that are in the high 20s. That's not okay. So then I said, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna take this just a little bit further here. And I wanted to see how they were doing. I'm gonna let you go on because something went wrong on our notes. I need to go look and see what this was. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Penalties in whole. when you, especially pre-snap penalties, those are uh, habits that are taught and preached and coached. And if not corrected, or if there isn't enough discipline in your routines, and I'm seeing a lot of ex players and everything really pound that in. Like the details are the important things that you really have to focus on and emphasize. And you're hearing from players on the roster in their comments, be it post game interviews or weekly interviews that they have lined up with media and whatnot. Those things are not fully focused on as they were. I think that as these players have been used to in the past, at other with other organizations, whatnot. So it's just we're seeing the symptoms of the root cause here.
Yeah. So sorry, I found my notes on this next part. To go along with those pre-snap penalties, I went back to find out how many plays our offense is running from behind the chains, right? So greater than 10 yards on first, second, and third down. I didn't count fourth down because you're probably most likely punting in that point anyway. But the Bears run the eighth most plays in 2022, right, from greater than 10 yards. So they're behind the chains, the eighth most times.
Yeah.
Same thing in 2023, eighth most time. 2024 so far, they are fourth. Why did I pick 2022? Because that's the year Eberflus was hired,
Yeah.
right? Since 2022, in total, they are in fourth. That's a problem.
He doesn't coach the offense, but he is the head coach.
Correct. So we've gone through, two offensive coordinators. I don't know if we switched O-line coaches. I can't remember from 22 to 23. From 22 to 23. I know we didn't from 23 to 24. I can't remember 22 to 23.
Yeah,
but
I believe
either way,
Morgan has been here.
if you are not, even if you are not, the offensive coach, you are the head coach, and that should be a point of emphasis. And it's not like it's a close number either. Is my problem. So since 2022, Chicago has run 366 plays with a distance to first down of greater than 11 or greater yards. 366. Yeah. You look at the good teams, they're the better teams. Detroit's at 270. Green Bay's at 272, right? Just looking at the teams in your conference. And like looking at this year already, Chicago's already had 104 plays where they've had to gain more than 10 yards to get a first down. That is crazy. Almost double Detroit.
Right. And now the last 2 weeks have been a little bit better.
Right.
Better. We've changed play callers. That's the number one thing. The everything is moving quicker in the offense. Everything is smoother in the offense. But we've seen Thomas Brown come in and say that, he's focusing on the details. There's no attaboys for losing, he's holding them to a higher standard than they had been used to.
Absolutely.
To this point, Chris Morgan is in his third season as offensive line coach for the Bears. So he came with Eberflus, and it's kind of surprising that that's not been something we've changed based on the play of that unit.
Yep.
But overall, I'm just gonna we're gonna keep piling on the coaching. Here's some stats that do fall under Eberflus in the defense. 3rd and 13, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, 2nd and 17, 1st and 15, 1st and 20. All plays that were converted for first downs. just in the final 2 drives. Uh, the bend don't break is broken. It's there. Matt Eberflus does not seem to have an aggressive bone in his body, except for when it comes to something else that I'll get to later on my bad call of the week. But the Matt Eberflus defense with 3rd and 7 or more is allowing a first down a league worst 71.8% of the time. That comes from What's Wolf at What's Wolf on Twitter. Like that is just how do you give up such big chunk plays? It's baffling.
Yeah. So this made me curious. Now, uh, I'll be honest. I skipped over the tweet from What's Wolf on the 3rd and 7 or more. I did the inverse of what we were talking about before, how the Bears keep starting behind the chains, and then looked at how the Bears defense is when they're going up against a team that's behind the chains. Only 7 teams have given up fewer first downs on plays where the opposing team is behind the chains since 2022. So on that end, they're doing better, but it's interesting that if you take it from 11 yards and higher, they're really good, but from the 10 and 7 or whatever it is, that it's rough. Not good. You got to be able to get off the field on 3rd down for sure. For sure. All right, let's flip to some good stuff. Unless you got any more negative you wanna pile on.
Not right now. No, I think we've done enough damage there. Save a little bit.
I'll go quick here. I thought Thomas Brown again called a good game. It sure seems like he's got the players buying in. He's got them re-energized. Even in the players' comments at the microphone when they're doing their pressers, it's a completely different sound from them. They're buying it in on, let's get the details, that actually being coached. I have seen this a lot through my career when I've gone into other gyms or I've gone to camps, and I will say things a certain way that could be the exact same thing that their coaches have said to them before 100 times. It sounds different. It comes with a different energy from it, and it's like it's the first time that the athlete has heard it. So there is some of that going on, but I think that just has to do with the energy that Thomas Brown brings, and it's really, really good to see.
Yeah, no, he's not Mr. Nice Guy, buddy, like, hey, let's call out by the nicknames and all this. Like he's down to business, right? He's holding people to work through the details. Let's focus on the small things and do the things that here's the thing I like from him. Thomas Brown says when asked, how do you balance calling things that you like versus things that the quarterback might be comfortable with? He says, it doesn't matter what I like. It doesn't matter what I like to play. It matters what we can do and be successful. Right?
Yep.
Too many times we get coaches that want to pigeonhole and just smash, the circle through the square, or, fit players into molds that they're not going to be successful with. And Thomas Brown is finding the things that can be successful for the Bears, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks. Caleb Williams, the last 2 weeks versus the previous 3, just looks like a completely reborn player, and he is making some incredible throws. Like,
yeah, not just throws. I mean, his throw running towards the sideline,
dropped it in the
25 yards
bucket.
or whatever, just drop it. It was just freaking gorgeous. He had another play where he scrambled and it looked like he was dead to rights twice, and then hopped over a down player, ran and turned it into a positive gain. He mentioned in his press conference yesterday, or sometime today. I don't remember which one it was. Being able to play more free right now, which you and I have talked about before, about how if you make him so afraid to make a mistake, then you take away part of what's special about him. And he said, I'm playing a lot more free. And when we got down to that 2 minutes, Thomas Brown said to him, all right, now it's time for you to go be Superman. Go do what
Yep.
you do. What do you like? That is huge, because it really takes the reins off your QB, and it also says, I believe in you. What's going to work? Let's go.
Yeah, no, the 100%. That's why you
Dude,
drafted.
I just
the
got
guy.
chills talking about that. Honestly, I
That
just got chills
that
talking about it.
that is why you drafted Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Not because of the box that he can, yes, he can do all the fundamental things, but he does the special things that a handful of people on the planet can do.
Yep.
So that's the reason you want him as the quarterback for your franchise moving forward. And if you give him the right tools and the right mentoring, and put him in the best positions to be able to do those things, you've seen it. The last 2 weeks, he's put your team in position to be able to win games. Now,
Yep.
you get a rookie mistake, you get the sack on that second down. I think it was second down and 9 when in overtime when he took that he took that sack, which obviously he said, I can't take that sack and everything.
Yep.
But I went back and I watched that play a couple of times, and for all the good I'm going to say about Thomas Brown, I did not love that play in particular. The route tree that they ran, the 3 receivers were all on the right side of the field. And when the pocket broke down, there was not really anything for him to look to an alternative to the left side of the field. So you cut the field in half, and you've got it all junked up because they're all in somewhat of the same area of the field.
Yep.
So yes, he shouldn't have taken a sack. He should have thrown the ball away. He held the ball for a long time on that play, but the play design can be better. And I mean, look, it happens, right? You just get some, throw that one away. I'm not, like I said, at this point, I'm not measuring this team by the wins and losses. I mean, yes, we're adding up those losses. They're stacking up, but we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. So development of your team and your quarterback is the number one thing that we're looking at here.
Yeah. Listen, you mentioned it, like, it wasn't the best play call, but it's going to happen. You're going to have a couple of those in each time. You're going up against a really well-coached team, a really good defense, Brian Flores defense, which is Caleb Williams, if I'm not mistaken, has had the best game of the year against the Vikings, or that the Vikings have given up so far.
And
like
I think
over
we said
300 yards
week,
and no interceptions. Yeah, against the Packers too. Yeah.
Last week he had the highest quarterback score that the Packers had given up for the.
So, you're seeing some real good things. I loved seeing Kmet get involved early again, because for me, that feels like it's opened up the rest of the field. And again, we've talked about this so many times this year. It opens up that middle of the field. It just makes sense because it's another playmaker that you have to account for. Whereas for a good portion of the season, defenses just went, yeah, I don't have to worry about that guy. They're not giving him the ball, so it doesn't really matter. Love seeing that. Love seeing the way they were using DJ Moore, getting real creative. I kind of thought some of those, I was like, all right, this is a good time to run Roshan here. Why is DJ Moore in the backfield? Like, it made me think something was going on with Johnson, but it was just, again, get him involved in the game, get him going. Here's what I want to see out of this team, because you said we're not talking about wins and losses. We're not really worried about that, right? You and Nat were at 11 wins, 12 wins, or whatever. I was a little more realistic at 9. Now we're going to be a little more realistic at 7. We need to see this team finish out a game.
No, it's not going to get to 7.
Yeah. Well,
I mean-
listen. I want to see this team finish out a game. That's what I need to see.
Sure.
For the second week in a row, you have the opportunity to beat a divisional opponent, and you found a way to lose. Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose, right? This time you have an incredible effort, that included the first successful onside kick in the NFL this season. It was like, I'm pretty sure.
First? I think it was the third.
Was it the third? All right. That's the first one I've seen. But maybe that's in my head. I was like, first one in my head. Listen, you win the toss. You've got all the momentum, and then you came out as flat as you could be on offense. It was just not good. And then the defense looked lost in overtime to me. So your Vikings get the win. Like I said, Bears keep finding ways to lose. They showed a stat on screen that since 2022, which again, Eberflus, Vikings have won the most one-score games with like 20 going into this game, and then the Bears had the fewest at 5. And that is a massive, massive difference in a league where games are decided by inches.
Yeah,
and it's the huge difference in coaching.
Yeah, the coach certainly does affect the outcomes of one-score games. Some games you go out there, you put it on them. Some days you go out there, you get it put on you. But most games, especially in the NFL, this is a tough league. That's why whenever I see two-digit spreads, I'm always real hesitant to take a team to win by 11 or more or something like that, just because this league on any given week can be real close.
I mean, look at the Panthers Chiefs game yesterday.
Exactly. 11-point spread. I was looking at that before I made my picks. We'll get that in a minute, but I stayed away from it. Here's my problem. Matt Eberflus, defensive head coach, this team is regressing. We were doing good things at the beginning of the year when the offense was trying to figure it out. And now seemingly as the offense has started to figure things out, the defense is starting to falter a little bit. They gave up 452 yards yesterday to, they're a good team. I think that the Vikings are getting more out of what they have on a week-to-week basis than what they add up to, right? And that goes to good coaching.
Yep.
Because Sam Darnold, let's face it, they pulled him off the scrap heap and put him in there. Nobody was expecting this year out of him. They were going to start their rookie quarterback who got injured, but and I don't think I'd like to see. I don't know where to find it, but if we can find out how many times Matt Eberflus defense blitzes, because I think it's a pretty low amount. He relies on trying to get pressure with the line and dropping back, and we've been hurting on the interior defensive line since Billings went down. I think Tremaine Edmonds is not having the kind of year that you need from that linebacker position. And then you got Brisker out, but you still have a lot of weapons in the deep defensive back. The problem is if you're playing defense from the defensive backfield, you've already lost most games. Right?
Yeah.
So, are they getting in the red zone?
Let's see.
Trying to make it into a game.
The Bears blitz 19.7% of the time, which is like in the bottom 10.
Yeah.
They're 8th.
It goes back to, Eberflus not being aggressive and but again, let's
Yep. Let's go ahead and move on to Tales of a Degenerate, because we're starting to get kind of Debbie Downer here, and I think you actually have some good news for us here in the Tales of a Degenerate.
Yeah, so I put my four score out this week, and uh, again, I hit two out of the four. Nico Collins and Bucky Irving, those guys hit. Did not get a touchdown from C.D. Lamb nor from DeAndre Swift. Is that who I bet? DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I believe that's that. Those are the two that I missed on. However, my picks against the spread for the Westgate Super Contest this past week, I went 5-0. Had the Packers early in the week -2. We just go off the opening lines. Wow,
Soundboard.
that's a
Soundboard.
longer applause than I've gotten in a long time. Dolphins -7, Lions -7, Cowboys plus 10.5. I just had a weird feeling about that. It was a divisional game. It was a lot of points, and to be honest, Washington really has not been playing that well the last several weeks. And then I had to sweat this one out all the way to the bitter end. Broncos -5.5. But
Yeah, that one came down to the very last play. Yeah.
That one came through, and so not only did I go 5-0 on those picks, and I only really just for tracking purposes, I only bet $1 on each of those games.
Right.
But then I always parlay them, and then use one of my boosts and from DraftKings, and so that was a nice 20x score on that parlay.
Nice. Very nice. Well, congratulations, buddy. That's awesome. We love to hear the good hits. So again, the Justin puts out. Are you putting out your parlays on that one too?
Well, I don't
on your picks.
post what the parlay is for those picks. I just put the picks, and then yeah, I don't put
which
the
ones
odds
you're picking.
really.
Yeah.
Because so the way it works is I go and get the Westgate sportsbook opening lines. That's what that contest goes off of.
Right.
And throughout the week, lines change and move. So by the time I bet it on Saturday night or Sunday morning, I could be like the Packers on there was -2, but they closed at like -6 or something like that. So I really bought it at a worse price than I would have if I would have got it at the beginning of the week. But it could change the other way too. It just depends
absolutely.
on injury news and whatnot. So
yeah. But for those of you that haven't seen it, Justin is getting a lot more creative with his 4 to score videos. I just assume that's why they come out at 11:15 every Sunday, is because he's doing some editing from like 9:30 to 11:15. But
a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try to. It won't be my official Sunday stuff, but I'm gonna try to get a couple of picks and everything released for this upcoming Thanksgiving 3-game slate.
I will try to do a 4 to score myself on Thursday, and I'll just send it over to you to edit together. All right, let's go ahead and move into the bad call of the week. I'll go ahead and go first because I kind of touched on it earlier. This DeAndre Carter backing or not backing away from the punt. Again, if you are waving everybody off, you are part of everybody, and you better back your ass up, or otherwise stupid shit like what happened. You cannot turn the ball over right there. Or at least if you're not going to back up, you better be prepared to catch that thing and go, because you just cannot turn over the ball right there. It's a terrible situation. You give them the ball back at the 15. And even if they don't end up scoring, it's not a situation you should be putting your team in. You wave them off, you better back off too. Inexcusable. DeAndre Carter, you get my bad call of the week.
Yeah. It's just this team doesn't need any extra ways to beat itself. The offense has actually done a really great job of not turning the ball over. I think Caleb's 5 games in a row now without a pick or something like that. But yeah, I'm on board with that. My bad call of the week is a 2-layered bad call. First of all, Matt
Twofer.
Eberflus, Matt Eberflus and his coaches' challenges. He throws a challenge on a Jordan Addison 69-yard completion.
Nice.
We didn't really.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
That's all right. I didn't really get a view of it. I was busy getting ready for basketball game. And that's one of the plays I didn't really go back and watch yet. But, Matt Eberflus says in his press conference today, I had to throw the challenge flag. It was an explosive play. That's what you do. What? You know. You throw the challenge flag when somebody tells you, oh, the guy stepped out of bounds or such and such happened. You don't just, I'm going to take a shot that maybe they missed something.
Yeah,
You've
before
got to be freaking. I know that Matt Eberflus has a wife. She's got to tell him, you're an idiot. You got to quit saying this kind of stuff into microphones. Like, for real.
But before you get into the second half of this, number one, you and I both have wives, and they tell us we're idiots all the time, and you just kind of get used to it.
Exactly.
Listen, the challenge, it was the right move to challenge that, especially because they had just somehow found a way to turn over a challenge with Keenan Allen making a big catch. They were somehow able to figure out that his white shoes were in the white paint by like a pinky nail or whatever it was. It was the right call. In the flow of the game, it was the right call, but the comment on it is 100% a bad call. 100%.
He's a moron. He's 0-4 in coaches' challenges this year. He's 2-8 in his career. It's the worst percentage of any active non-first year coach, and that's maybe just because maybe a first year coach is 0-1 or something like that. Big freaking deal, man. He's got to assign somebody to tell him yes, do it, or no, do it. And if he does have somebody, that person should be fired.
Yeah.
So, but the second part of this is when they're talking about this review in the broadcast, they go to Mike Pereira, as they do. They all the networks have their expert referees or whatnot, and there's a view that they show that looks like maybe the guy was out of bounds or whatever. But then he goes on to say that view is from a boundary camera, which not every stadium in the NFL has. And so that they're not allowed to use them, but only for coaches' challenges, they're not allowed to use those cameras. What kind of cockamamie bullshit is this, NFL? You have it, you use it. This goes back to the cameras that we had a replay on a Thursday night that Amazon Prime cameras caught, but they didn't have. What kind of multi-billion-dollar corporation are we running here? You use the cameras. Why doesn't every stadium in the NFL have these boundary cameras? I'm just completely. I don't even know with the NFL. They're so moronic. The reasonings that they have for only being able to use them for these challenges or not for these, it's all BS. Get it right. Get it right.
Yeah, it's a fair and equity rule, basically, because as you said, not every team has these. So it goes to the first question: why doesn't every team have these? We've got these multi-billion-dollar stadiums. Put the freaking camera in there, right? Go over to Best Buy, plug it in, and let's go. Like there's zero reasons why you don't have that. Number two, if they are available, use them, right? We keep talking about how important the integrity of the game is to the NFL. Well, if the integrity of the game is important, then you use every tool available to you. Every tool at your disposal, whether you have that in every stadium or not. If that tool is available in that stadium, then you better use it. And he was out of bounds according to that look. But because you can't use that camera, big play, right? Or bigger play. It was still going to be a big play, but like it goes back to what we, like you said, that if you've got it available to you, got to use it. That is 100% an NFL bad call.
And almost to add a third thing is how is it that the Bears have these? They don't really run a serious organization as it is. So if they're one of the teams that does have them and other teams don't, it's kind of surprising.
God damn it, Lonnie.
No. The answer to that is no.
God damn it, Lonnie. Bravo. Well played, sir. I appreciate that one.
He's not on your dynasty roster, is he?
I traded a 2026 first round pick for Greg Dulcich after week 1.
Ooh.
Yeah, I shared a text today because they waived him. The Broncos waived him today. He had a 67% snap share in week 1. I traded for him, and then it was like 54, 29, 30 inactive for 8 weeks, and then waived. I killed his career pretty quick with that trade. Well played, sir.
You must have been on the Denver chocolates when you made that trade.
Yeah, it was not an ideal situation, but not the only dumb move I've made in fantasy, to nobody's surprise. Thanks for bringing that up, Lonnie. That was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. That made my night. I'm glad that you waited until like we're about to roll the credits on this show tonight, and you dropped that in there.
Dulcich might end up being my bad call of the year when we do our season finale there. He might be my bad call of the year. It was so bad that now when you trade a first, you have to say that you're trading a Dulcich. That's what you trade now. Yeah. So, bravo. All right, man.
Wonderful.
Anything else you want to say? That definitely lightened the mood. I'm not as depressed now.
Yeah, that was good. No, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Enjoy the holiday with your family, and have fun watching football and eating too much and all that fun stuff.
Best day of the year. I cannot wait. It'll be even better, when the Bears find a way to beat the Lions on Turkey Day.
I saw something on Twitter. This won't take long. Earlier, somebody said, "How will the Bears figure out how to lose this game?" And somebody wrote in that DeAndre Swift will score a touchdown when they're down by 6 at the end to go up, but upon review, he will have fumbled it just before the goal line and out of the end zone, so it'll be a turnover.
Or forget which team he's on and run the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Little rascal style. All right, man. Well, again, everybody, if you stopped in, truly appreciate you. Thank you for sticking around, stopping in, commenting, whatever it is. Make sure you hit that subscribe, follow, comment what your bad call of the week was. Bad beats in fantasy, bad starts, whatever it was, NFL related, put them in there. We would love to see those. Make us feel a little bit better about some of the stupid shit that we do. And until next time, try to avoid making another bad call. Oh, that's
Yo, it's another week, another game night.